Welcome to Students Incorporated. I'm your host, Mr. Jason. Join me weekly as my students and I bring you content that's informative, positive, fun, and uplifting. This podcast is created and produced with the help of students from the International Community School of Bangkok. Okay, quick show of hands, even though I can't see you. How many times this week have you pulled out your phone and pretended to be fascinated by an old message or just randomly looked up something to avoid an awkward moment with somebody else? Or how about the unwritten law that says you will always manage to pick the slowest checkout line at the store? These invisible scripts guide our lives. They're the unspoken rules that everyone seems to know but no one ever actually talks about. From how long you're allowed to make eye contact with a stranger to the right way to stand in an elevator, we're all following rules we never really learned. Or did we? They're funny, they're relatable, and frankly, they're a little strange sometimes. And today we are pulling back the curtain on all of them, or at least the ones we can talk about. We're having a lighthearted conversation about the unspoken rules that shape our lives. We also have a group of students joining us to discuss the hilarious and unusual rules that follow their everyday lives. But first, before we jump into our first segment with our students, let's hear our quote of the day and get some headline news.
Our quote of the day comes from James Clear, who said, "Some rules don't need to be written down. They survive because everyone understands the cost of breaking them." This quote by James Clear highlights how social norms and unspoken expectations shape our behavior just as strongly as formal rules do. Even without being explicitly stated, these unwritten rules, like waiting your turn, respecting personal space, or showing gratitude, hold power because people instinctively know that breaking them can lead to social tension or loss of trust, which is why unspoken rules are more significant than you would expect. And that's our quote of the day. Now on to some headline social norm news.
Thank you for the quote of the day. Now, here's some headline news related to social norms and unwritten rules. Our first headline comes from Forbes, which reports that 60% of employees say unwritten rules in the workplace cause miscommunication and disconnection, highlighting how many organizations expect staff to follow behavioral codes that are never formally laid out. Experts point out that these informal rules often govern everything from email etiquette to decision-making, hierarchies, and failing to understand them can affect promotions, team dynamics, and overall job satisfactions. Our second headline comes from NIC, where it is revealed that Gen Z workers are hiring etiquette coaches to master the unwritten rules of the office, as they struggle with norms around professionalism, office communication, and appropriate behavior in open-plan environments. The trend reflects a growing awareness that succeeding at work is not just about skills, but also about understanding subtle social cues, networking practices, and expectations that are never really included in employee manuals. Our third headline, and the very last one, comes from a Swedish university, collaborating in a global study that finds everyday norms have become more permissive over time and differ across cultures. Yet a large degree of consistency remains in the unwritten social rules people follow worldwide. The research highlights examples like queuing behavior, greetings, and personal space, showing that while societies evolve, many unspoken expectations continue to guide interactions in predictable ways, even without formal enforcement. And that is our headline news about social norms.
Thank you for the quote and the headline news. Before we start asking some of our student guest questions, I want to talk a little bit about some of those social norms that people have to learn. Sometimes the easy way and sometimes the hard way. There are a lot of social norms about eating, personal hygiene, and other behaviors people exhibit. Some things are acceptable in public and some things are definitely not. James, I have to ask, does one come to mind for you?
Elevator etiquette. The unspoken rule of when you are in an elevator is that you are supposed to face the doors, not the back or side walls. Otherwise, people may think you're trying to hide from something or someone.
For me, it's all about personal space, especially in a conversation. It's that awkward, close to talk dance. You know, when someone stands just a few inches too close to you and you take a little step back and they take a step forward. Or the unspoken rule of coughing or sneezing. You have to cover your mouth, preferably with your elbow. If you just let it fly, it's a major social violation.
Yes, and the social rules and manners about eating. We teach kids not to eat with their mouth open, but it's an unspoken rule for adults. No one has a rule book for it, but if you do it at a dinner table, everyone notices.
And it's not just how you eat, but when you eat. Like the rule about waiting for everyone to be served or sit down before you start eating. It's a sign of respect that's not written down anywhere, but you're judged if you break it.
Oh, and don't forget the double dip rule. Has anyone ever announced it's forbidden to double dip your chips twice? No, but if you see someone do it at a party or get together, it's a major social foul. Or even just taking a fry off someone else's plate. That's not just breaking a rule, that sounds grounds for ending a friendship.
That's pretty extreme, but yeah, that is a major foul, double dipping or stealing fries off your friend's plate. And it extends everywhere. Think about driving. It's full of unspoken rules. Who gets to merge when a lane ends? The thank you wave when someone lets you in, or flashing your headlights to warn oncoming traffic. None of that is in the official driver's manual, but it's the language we all use to get around without chaos. It's fascinating how we all navigate these rules without a manual, and that's exactly what we want to talk about with our guest today. We brought in a group of students to get their take on the unspoken rules they deal with every day. James and Esther will be asking a variety of different students about some unspoken rules they deal with every week at school. Go ahead and get us started, James.
Alright, first up we have Midnight. Here's our question for you. Every student has multiple teachers they interact with on a daily basis. What's an example of an unspoken rule that may exist in a classroom?
Ooh, okay. So this is not a rule that is stuck on classrooms, but is a rule that students need to learn. And is that some teachers will let you sleep in class and they will not care. And then some other teachers will wake you up.
Thank you, Midnight. Next up, we have Yosef. Let's talk about reputation. Every school has those small things that instantly change how people see you. What's an unspoken rule about how to stay socially safe at school? Things you just don't do if you want to keep your reputation.
Not trying too hard to impress people, as that is what I believe drives away people the most. Other than that, I think if you just stay true to yourself, then you should be fine and find people who really relate to you and stick with you throughout life.
Thank you, Yosef. Next up, we have Unru. There are tons of unspoken rules about being online. So, what's an unspoken rule about texting or replying in group chats?
One unspoken rule about texting in group chats is not tagging everyone at nighttime and to add people without asking people in the group chat. Lastly, one last unspoken rule is asking random question that is not related to the head topic.
Thank you, Uno. Next, we have Robin. When you're trying to hang out with friends, somehow the same few people always end up planning everything. Is there an unspoken rule about who plans hangouts and who just shows up?
I think there's definitely an unspoken rule when it comes to hangouts. There's always that one person who plans everything while everyone else just shows up. It's not that people don't want to hang out, it's just how the group dynamic usually ends up. But it can feel a little one-sided when the same person is always organizing things. It's nice when others show some effort or excitement too, so it feels more balanced.
Thanks, Robin. And next up, we have John. This next unspoken rule is about relationships or ex-relationships. Some may call it a bro code. What's the unspoken rule about liking someone else's ex's post or commenting too soon after a breakup?
There's kind of an unspoken rule to give it time. Liking or commenting on someone's ex's post too soon after a breakup can look insensitive or like you're taking a side. It's usually best to wait until things have cooled off before interacting publicly.
Thank you, John, and thank you all for those answers. This is fascinating. What I'm hearing is that these rules are everywhere, from the classroom with Midnight's teacher code to friendships with Robin's planner rule to the digital world with John's breakup buffer. It's clear these rules are the secret instruction manual for our social lives, and it actually inspired our team to put together a list. James, Esther, you were working on a sort of top 10 list of these everyday social norms. So what do you have?
We were working on that. So here's what we got. And based on what our guest just said, we're calling this list the top 10 unspoken rules of school social life. Esther, start us off with number 10.
Number 10, the hallway nod. You must acknowledge the acquaintance with a quick nod or smile. Ignoring them is a social crime.
Number 9, the lunch table rule. You can't just sit at any table. Every table has an invisible reserve sign, and you have to know where you sit.
Number 8, the reply all rule. In a group chat, you don't have 101 conversation that everyone else is forced to watch. Take it to your DMs.
Number 7, the social media lag. You can't like a new acquaintance's photo from 52 weeks ago. It's called deep stalking, and it's creepy.
Number 6, the planner's burden. Just like Robin said, the person who plans the hangout should not have to be the only one who chases everyone for money.
Number 5, the reputation rule, which Joseph pointed out. Trying too hard to be cool is the single most uncool thing you can do.
Number 4, the teacher code. Just like Midnight said, you can instantly adapt your personality to match the vibe of the teacher you're talking to.
Number 3, the breakup buffer, which John just mentioned. You must wait an appropriate unstated amount of time before publicly interacting with the friend's ex.
Number 2, the front row rule. Don't sit in front row of class if you're just going to be on your phone the whole time. It's so disrespectful.
And the number 1 unspoken rule of school social life, the read receipt panic. If you read a message, you have an invisible deadline to reply, and every minute you wait adds more social pressure.
Okay, that is a brilliant top 10 list, so thank you. The read receipt panic is all too real. We have to take a short break now, but when we come back, we're going to hear more from our student guest right after this short PSA announcement.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Ever feel like you're having a great conversation, but the person you're with keeps glancing at their screen? We've all been there. It's the 21st century unspoken rule. The phone must go away. It's so easy to let our devices take over, but true connection happens when we put them down. Challenge yourself this week. When you're grabbing coffee with a friend at the dinner table or just hanging out, commit to putting your phone on silent and face down, or better yet, leaving it in your pocket. It's a small, simple choice that sends a huge message. You are important. This moment is important. Stop scrolling and start connecting. Give the people around you the gift of your full attention.
And we are back with our student guest, and just before the break, we were digging into the top 10 unspoken rules of school social life. Now we want to go even deeper into the rules that define our daily interactions, the new ones, the ones we break, and the ones that are just plain weird.
Welcome, Vinaj. Let's start with you. Every generation has its own language of unspoken rules. What unspoken rules do Gen Z students follow that older generations just wouldn't get?
There are many, but one that relates a lot to me is the desire to text rather than call. For us, calls can feel intrusive or too formal, while texting feels quicker and more natural. Older generations often see calls as more personal, but for us, texting is just how we connect day to day.
And sometimes you don't realize you've broken one of these invisible rules until it's too late. Josiah, have you ever realized you broke an unspoken rule without even knowing it exists?
Oh yeah, one I can think of off the top of my head is when I moved to Thailand, I disgustingly wore my shoes inside the house. Thankfully, I quickly changed my ways and no longer wear shoes inside.
Alright, let's lighten things up a bit because some unspoken rules are so ridiculous, they're actually kind of hilarious. This question is for Fonda. What's an unspoken rule everyone breaks but pretends they don't?
An unspoken rule everyone breaks is checking our phone during class, even though we're not supposed to. We all pretend we're just checking the time, but really we're just texting or scrolling for a bit.
Okay, moving on. Food is another big one. Somehow, sharing fries has its own moral code. Sensen, what's an unspoken rule about food, like sharing fries or not eating the last piece of something?
An unspoken rule about food is who gets the last piece. When you're with a bunch of people and there's one slice of pizza left, do you just leave it alone, or what if you're still hungry? Can you ask to eat it?
And if you ever dare to break one, you know the reactions can be unpredictable. VJ's up next. Have you ever broken an unspoken rule on purpose, and what happened?
Yes, I have. The unspoken rule that I decided to break was checking my phone while somebody else is talking, but I only do this with my close friends to rage bait them. They got quite angry with me, but it was kind of funny for a bit.
Okay, that is interesting. Okay. And finally, Pun, if you could erase one unspoken rule from student life, what would it be?
Maybe one of the bro codes for the urinals in the male restroom, that we have to keep the greatest distance between the person who is using the urinal first. So sometimes it it really makes me anxious to choose which urinal I should go for. Though it also makes sense why we have this unspoken rule, because I find it hard as well to go sometimes when I am sandwiched between two dudes. Well, I still think it'd be nice to erase this rule, at least in our school, because you simply don't have time to wait and choose which urinal to choose when you're running between classes with only 5 minutes to be ready in time.
Wow, Pun, thank you for that perfectly honest and funny answer. It's the perfect example of a norm that feels totally absurd, but also apparently necessary for guys. And a huge thank you to all of our guests. You've really shown us how these rules cover everything from our digital lives to who gets the last fry and how to use the restroom. It seems like the perfect time to wrap up with our final list. James and Esther, you have one more top 10 list for us.
We do. After all this great discussion, we're calling this one the top 10 unspoken rules of our digital modern life. James, will you kick us off with number 10?
Of course. Number 10, the story spam rule. Don't post so many Instagram stories in a row that they just look like a bunch of tiny dots on your page.
Actually, that is kind of annoying. Number 9, the fake booking ban. You're not allowed to post worst day ever just to make people ask you, oh my god, what's wrong?
Yeah, it's kind of annoying when that happens. Number 8, the headphone signal. If someone has headphones in, that is the universal do not disturb sign. Do not interrupt them unless it's an emergency.
Number 7, which Simpson mentioned, the last slice standoff. Whether it's a pizza or cake, the last piece on the plate does not belong to anyone. It must be offered and politely refused at least twice before it can be claimed.
I always end up wanting to ask for it, but I don't do it. Number 6, the text before you call rule. You do not just call someone out of the blue. You send a text first like, yo, you free for a quick call?
Number 5, the screenshot betrayal. You do not screenshot a private conversation and share it with other people. It's an ultimate digital break of trust.
Yes, totally. You cannot do that to your friends. Okay, number 4, the email via chat rule. If it's urgent, it's a chat. If it's official, it's an email. And never ever reply all to a company-wide email just to say, thanks.
Number 3, the emoji vibe check. You must understand that a thumbs up emoji can be seen as a passive-aggressive. Choose your emojis wisely.
For sure. Number 2, the digital payment rule. You must pay your friend back immediately, but it is also an unspoken rule not to send a payment request for something tiny, like $1.
And number 1, unspoken rule of our digital modern life, which connects right to our PSA, the phubbing rule. Phubbing is phone snubbing. When you are with people in real life, you give them your attention. Don't be the person staring at your screen ignoring everyone else.
Okay, thank you so much for that top 10 list. That list is spot on, especially that text before you call rule. So thank you. And a final huge thank you to all of our student guests today for being so open and honest with us. These unspoken rules, whether they're in the hallway, in a group chat, or at the urinal, are the secret language of our lives. They're how we build community, show respect, and as we've heard, sometimes just make things hilariously awkward. We've learned today that our lives are governed by a massive, invisible instruction manual. From who gets the last fry to how you stand in an elevator, these unspoken rules are the secret language we use to show respect, build community, and, as we heard, make things just a little bit awkward sometimes. A huge thank you to my co-hosts James and Esther, and a very special thank you to all of our student guests for being so open and sharing your experiences with us. And of course, thank you for listening. If you enjoyed our conversation, please make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. You can also follow us on Instagram at Students Incorporated. We'll be back next time with a brand new topic, so until then, pay attention to the rules you can't see. And as always, this podcast would not be possible without the hard work and support of our international student production team.
All music and sound effects are courtesy of pixabay.com, a vibrant community of creatives sharing copyright-free images, videos, and music.
And we're signing off. Until next time, we're Students Incorporated because your voice matters.